Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my February TBR. I know I'm a little late to making this video, but I still wanted to talk about all the books that I wanted to read this month because I also forgot to make a January TBR and I didn't want to do it 2 months in a row. So I'll have all the books that I talk about today linked down below in the description if you want to go check them out. But let's just get straight into the books that I'm planning to read this month. Because it is February 10th, the day that I'm filming this, I've already completed a couple of books. So the first book that was on my TBR was The Lion Game by Ruth Ware. Max. Every time I sit down to film, the cats just want to be right here with me. Obviously, this isn't my wrap up, so I'm not going to go into my thoughts on this book. Unless you've seen my vlogs, then you already know my thoughts on this book. This is another adult thriller by Ruth Ware. I wanted to read it this month because I read The Turn of the Key by her last year and I really loved it. This is following a group of girls who are now in their 30s and they were best friends back in high school. They went to this private all-girls boarding school in the English countryside and they played this game called The Lion Game where essentially they told lies to everyone around them and they awarded each other points based on how well the lie was bought by other people and other factors like that. They didn't actually win anything from winning these points. It was just kind of fun deceiving people and getting away with it. And one of the girls' father worked at the school as an art teacher and he ended up disappearing, possibly dead. And you know automatically that the girls know something that the police don't, that they had something to do with his disappearance. And the book starts when one of the girls texts the rest of the girls in the group an emergency message saying, "I need you," and they all come back together. So yeah, I won't get into my thoughts on this one, but I'll just say it wasn't as good as The Turn of the Key and I was kind of disappointed. So then the second book that was on my TBR for February, I've also already finished this one, was Make Me Want by Kate Robert. This is an adult romance novel. I think the in like parentheses subtitle is a steamy workplace romance. And so I went into this just wanting something fun. I keep trying all of these romance books hoping to like them and I just have yet to find my niche, I guess. So if you have recommendations for me, please leave them down below in the comments. I clearly need guidance. This book follows our main character Lucy. She's a lawyer who's seeking a promotion, but her company has been really sexist in the past and never promotes women who aren't married. So she enlists the help of one of her friends who is a headhunter. His name is Gideon, and she asks him to find her a husband. She was previously engaged and Gideon feels like he owes her because he didn't tell her that her fiance was cheating on her, even though everybody else knew about it. And so in addition to looking for a husband for her, the two were also hooking up to give her sex lessons, basically to prepare her for marriage. And this book had so much promise. I felt like the premise had so much potential. It sounded like it could be really fun. All I'm gonna say is I wouldn't recommend it. This is my least favorite book that I've read so far this year. Okay, so those are the only 2 books on this TBR that I've already read. So the next book on my TBR is The How and the Why by Cynthia Han. This is our book club pick for my book club, which I run over on my Patreon page. I'll have a link down below in the description if you want to check it out. I'm excited. We're trying something new this month. I usually do a live show discussion at the end of the month for our book club, but this month we're gonna do a spoilery reading vlog. So I'm gonna do a vlog as I read the book with all of my spoilery thoughts on it, and then we can discuss it at the end of the month. So make sure to check the link down below in the description if you want to join us. I think it'll be a fun time. I'm really excited for this book. I've heard really good things about it. So Cynthia Han's written a lot of books that I've read in the past. She wrote the Unearthly trilogy, The Afterlife of Hallie Chase, The Last Time we Said Goodbye. She's written a lot of books. This one is about a teenage girl who gives her daughter up for adoption, and then when the daughter is 18, she has access to a letter that her mother wrote her when she was still pregnant with her, and she becomes curious and wants to learn more about her birth mom. And honestly, that's all that I know about the book. That premise alone wouldn't have been enough to intrigue me or make me want to pick up this book, honestly. It was seeing other people's reviews raving about this book and people that I know and trust who really love this book. So that's what got me excited about this book. I'm hoping to love it as much as everybody else seems to. And I know that I trust Cynthia Han as an author. I've liked her previous books in the past. I know that I like her writing style. So I'm really hoping to enjoy this month. The next book on my TBR is what I'm currently reading when I'm filming this, and that is What Kind of Girl by Alyssa Sheehan-Mel. This book just came out. Sourcebooks was kind enough to send it to me, and I was so excited when they asked if I wanted a copy of this book because it sounded right up my alley. It's about a girl who's getting physically abused by her boyfriend in high school, and the book is told in a bunch of different, oh my goodness. I'm so sorry if you can hear my cats. They're just all wound up right now. It's told in a bunch of different point of views, so every chapter jumps basically to a different girl in the school. We're following Max! We're following the popular girl, the girlfriend who's getting abused, the best friend, the bulimic, the burnout, the cool girl, the activist, the anxious girl. Basically, we're just jumping to all of these different girls in the school, getting their perspective on what's happening. And the boy who is accused of abusing his girlfriend is super popular, super well liked. All of the kids love him, all of the adults love him. So the girls in the school are basically taking sides. Half of them want to support the victim and then half of them want to rally around this guy. I think his name is Mike. And so I was really interested in this book just because I think it's a really important topic, and I don't think I've read a book that really tackles this. I got really strong female of the species vibes from this book, which is one of my favorite books by Mindy McGinnis. So if this is anything like that book, I know I'm gonna love it. And then also, if you've read The Truth About Alice by Jennifer Matthew, it's told in a similar way where we're following a bunch of different characters in a school with different perspectives on the situation, and I really enjoyed the way that book was written, so I thought if this was anything like that, I would really enjoy it. So I'm not very far into it. I'm only like 60 pages in so far, but I love the premise, love that it's written in a unique way, love that it's tackling such an important topic, love the cover, so I'm really looking forward to this one this month. The next book on my TBR, I haven't got my hands on a copy yet, but you can bet that I will, is The King of Crows by Libba Bray. This is the 4th book in the Diviner series, the final book in the Diviner series, and I have been dying for this book. If you've been around for the past year or so, I read The Diviners 2 years ago, and then I read books 2 and 3 last year, and I love this series. It's become one of my all-time favorite series, and so I'm really excited and also nervous to pick up the last book in the series because I'm nervous to see what happens just based on what happened in the 3rd book, but I'm also really sad to see the series end because I haven't read anything quite like this or loved something so passionately in a while. I will be sad when the series ends, but I'm really excited to pick up this final book. It's hard to talk about it because it's the last book in a series, but if you haven't read The Diviners yet, and I haven't convinced you to read the series yet, I don't know what you're doing. It's fantastic. I will tell you that I think the 1st book is the weakest in the series so far, so if you weren't really sold with that 1st one, I highly encourage you to move on in the series because I think the 2nd book and the 3rd book, it's just like on a whole other level. It really takes off from the 2nd book. It adds so many layers to the story. We're following so many more interesting point of view characters. The 1st book is following Evie O'Neill, and I feel like Evie's the least interesting main character, at least to me. She's sort of off-putting, so if you didn't like the 1st book because of her, just know in the future books you follow other characters whose stories I think are more interesting. But yeah, the 1st book follows Evie O'Neill. It's the 1920s. She's going to stay with her uncle in New York City, and she's a diviner, which means she has a psychic power. And it's something that she just wants people to know about her. But basically, she can touch people's personal objects and see their memories or whatever secrets they're hiding because of that. And the 1st book is all about her trying to help an investigation of finding a serial killer by looking at the objects of his victims. But the story really expands and gets a lot more complex from there. So this series I just find so well thought out, so intricately plotted, just so good. Like, I can't even put into words how much I love this series. I'm so excited to read the last book. Very creepy, spooky, scary, so know that going into it. It only gets creepier from the 1st book on, so have fun. And then the last book that I have on my TBR, because I'm trying to account for all of my beta reads and manuscript evaluations that I do for my freelance services. So the last book on my TBR is Revolt by Lindsay Miller. This book also just came out, and this is a young adult fantasy. So we're following 2 main characters, Emily and Annette. Emily is desperate to escape her noble roots, and she wants to serve her country as a physician, but society dictates that a noble lady cannot perform such gruesome work. And then Annette is overlooked and overworked in her family, but she wants more from her life than her humble beginnings and longs to be trained in magic. So as you can bet, these 2 girls decided to swap places. I really love what it says on the back. She could be the perfect lady, the pristine calm my mother had always wanted of me, and I could be the avalanche lurking underneath. This sounds super fun. I actually haven't heard anyone talking about it, and I haven't read any reviews for it yet, so I don't really know what other people have thought of it yet, but it sounds like it's gonna be right up my alley. I haven't really been in the mood for fantasy lately, so I'm hoping maybe this will kind of get me out of my slump. And then in addition to those, obviously I'm doing my beta reads. I've already done 2 so far this month. I'm capping myself at no more than 4. I did 7 last month and it was just far too much for me. So if I end up doing the 4 beta reads, manuscript evaluations, and then read all of these, that'll be 10 books for the month, which I think is pretty awesome. So yeah, I'll have all of these books linked down below in the description if you want to go check them out. I would love to hear down below in the comments what you're planning on reading in February, or if you've already finished some and you've loved them, let me know what you've read so far. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a fabulous day. I hope you're having a really great start to your month as well. If you're new here, I would love it if you would subscribe and stick around. I put up at least 2 to 3 new videos every single week. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you would give it a thumbs up. Check out all my links down below in the description. And I think that's it. I'll just see you guys in my next video very soon. Bye. I have 2 very helpful assistants who finally calmed down just in time for me to be finished filming. They were going crazy and making so much noise while I was trying to film, but now they're just chilling.
So hit me. So hit me. so hit me. First a confession. With you, I feel a connection. With